Oh, happy Good Friday, everybody. It is Friday, April 10th, in case you've lost track of time again. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. If I didn't have my punch list for what I'm doing every day, I wouldn't know where I'm at. Which is why yesterday I almost read the same one 2 days in a row. But today is a double dip day, and you get um, actually 2 days worth because I'm trying to squeeze all this into a single month. So I've consolidated some stuff and dropped a couple others that are in a way repetitious. Um, but yeah, my energy today honestly is not that great. Uh, had a bit of migraine last night. The sinuses and allergies are killing me. Had an earache from like 2 o'clock in the morning until I finally got out of bed and took something for the pain. And then it's like I started to have a nightmare. And fortunately, my husband's alarm went off, and I woke up before I got attacked by this swarm of spiders. So it's a good thing. Um, but I'm here now. So, and sorry if I triggered you because I mentioned spiders. I used to like spiders. I used to play with daddy long legs. I don't know where that changed, but it did when I was young. So, so, uh, so, so today is about travel, basically. Not so much the double dip, but it's a travel day. So, if you could travel anywhere in the world you want, odd question to ask with all the travel restrictions, but we're going there. So, if you could travel anywhere in the world you want, where would you go and why? What speaks to you about this place? So, that's part of it. And this other part um, kind of ties into travel because it talks about learning a new language. Hey, Bill, how you doing? And what language speaks to you and why? So it does tie in with the first part of this because the follow up question is what speaks to you about this place or this language and why? So I'll repeat it. If you could travel anywhere in the world you want, where would you go and why? And what speaks to you about this place? The second part of today's journal exercise is learn a new language and what language speaks to you and why. Now, back in high school, while other students were taking something somewhat cool like French or German or Spanish, uh, I was hanging out with the cool kids in Latin. Did that for 2 years. Did it help me speaking another language? Yes and no. I really understand the roots of words now because they date back to uh, the era of Latin when it was first being spoken. And I'm really grateful for that because if I don't understand the word, before I go look it up, I look at what the root of the word is and see if I can draw some inference from there. And usually I can. Every now and then I have to hit the big book dictionary and figure out the word or go online nowadays because everybody has an online dictionary. But it still speaks about learning a new language. And maybe learning a new language is just, learning two new big words a month. If you think back to grammar school, elementary school, and you always had those vocabulary quizzes because you had to learn a new word, learn how to spell it, use it in a sentence, just to improve your understanding of how the word was used. For me, recently I've actually been on a bit of learning English again because one of the things with PTS is it affects part of your prefrontal cortex, and depending on which part of your brain, that part of your prefrontal cortex or other parts of your brain that can be affected by PTS, it affects your language skills. And I remember one time, shortly after I'd been diagnosed, maybe 2 months after I was diagnosed, I was trying to read something out loud, and I felt like I was back in second or third grade. I was reading something that has maybe been written at the 8th grade level, but I was struggling to read it out loud. Struggling is like to get the words from the paper in the eyeballs to the part of the brain that processes it into the spoken word. There was a disconnect in there somewhere. And that really frustrated me. And that language skill continued to frustrate me, for the next couple of years, where it's like I could read something but not remember what I read even an hour later. And so reading out loud is actually one of the things I had to do to basically relearn the language of English, which is my native tongue, right? And I found that my understanding of individual words was lacking as well. And every now and then I will still pull up the dictionary. What does that word actually mean? Does it mean what I think it means? And the truth is, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you forget that words can have 2 or 3 different meanings depending on how they're being used. And so it's always a good idea sometimes to go back and look at words. If you're not sure if a word's being used correctly, or is there a better word? Some fiction writers like using these big, long, complicated words when there's a much simpler term available. So sometimes I get stuck on those, but that's okay. I'm still improving my vocabulary. So for me, learning a new language is about learning English again. Um, and and to help, I actually had to write a book. In order to do that, I had to sharpen up some of those basic grammar things that you learned way back when, like 3 decades ago or longer. And for me, traveling, we went to Scotland a couple years ago for our 30th wedding anniversary. Me and Kurt did, and we want to go back. It's a beautiful country. It's beautiful scenery, beautiful people. There's parts of the country we haven't seen yet. Would love to get up into the Highlands and just tromp around for a couple of weeks. And it's very peaceful. And I have ancestors from there. And I felt very much at home. And learning a little bit more about the history of Scotland and why some of the immigration happened when it did. And I remember standing in front of an abbey where my great 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 grandfather had been baptized. Um, and thinking about having to leave that place as a boy, as a young man, never being able to see it again. That kind of hit home. So, a little bit about me. So, if you could travel anywhere in the world you want, where would you go and why? What speaks to you about this place? And also learn a new language. What language speaks to you and why? And that's your journal prompt for today. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I haven't read that far ahead. It's kind of fun going through this. So, you guys have a great day. It's trying to be spring here, but right now we have this high fog and the sun's not coming out, although it is warm. But it's supposed to be nice weather all weekend. But do shelter in place. You might save somebody's life because he stayed home. All right, wash your hands. Take care and peace out.